Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update. Wednesday, November 20th, 1:30 a.m. Mountain Time 2019. Look at these models. It's showing a heavy blizzard pattern starting next Wednesday in the Midwest with multiple events, bringing record-breaking snow to Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, South Dakota, and even Kansas, as well as southwestern Colorado. Can you believe it? Keep calm, it's boom time. Where has the snow fallen this fall across the country? Now remember, it's not winter. So far, this late fall, the Washoe area has missed most of the accumulating snow, as well as the Twin Cities in Minnesota. However, southeastern Wisconsin has received over a foot. Also, parts of Iron and Vilas counties in far northern Wisconsin in the Lake Superior snow belt has received 1 to 2 feet of snow. Otherwise, the central and northern Rockies, as well as the Dakotas, have had generous snowfall this fall. Totals have eclipsed 4 feet in the higher elevations, with up to 2 feet in part of North Dakota. Shut up, Al! Get in your hole! Sorry about that. Meanwhile, northern New England has seen them up to a foot. It's interesting to note that light amounts of snow have been reported as far south as Texas and Mississippi. It will be interesting to see what the actual winter brings. Now, won't it? Snowstorm heading in could bring season's first significant snowfall to southwest Colorado. You think? I wonder. Winter storm warning. Winter storm warning remains in effect till 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Friday, above 8,500. What? Heavy snow is expected, above 8,500. Total snow, 12 to 20 inches, with local accumulations up to 30 inches. Where? Utah, LaSalle, Abajo Mountains in Colorado, southwest San Juans, that's where I am, and the northwest San Juans. When? From right now to 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Time Friday. Impacts. Travel will be very difficult to impossible, especially over the high mountain passes. Expect hazardous winter driving conditions on all roads and very poor visibility and blowing snow. It will blow. A detailed map of the snow can be found at blah, 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 blah. Where is that place? Can I find that? Yeah, so there's your update. There's the warning. Here's the map at blippity bloppity blue. T-Ride 5 inches. Pagosa 3. Oppenheimer Ranch 18 to 30. Central Mountains 18 to 30. We're going to have some gorgeous photos in the next 2 days. Northern U.S. to see more snow. As predicted, northwest alerts and snowfall forecasts are in effect. Winter weather alerts all throughout northern Montana, Kalispell, Havre, Glasgow, Scobie, Helena, Butte, Missoula. It's boom time. There are your snow totals. The Canada-U.S. border picking up the most snow. Check it out. Snow in time for Thanksgiving in Idaho? Say it ain't so. Boise, could it be? After a prolonged stretch of super dry weather, could we be seeing a return of the storm track, cold air and snow? Well, if you believe the long-range models and Diamond, the answer would be yes. A resounding yes. However, you have to understand the way computer forecast models work in a nutshell. Yeah, forecasters like the mainstream media are days behind on the actual models. But we're not. We are actually 48 minutes out from the newest model, which they won't report until tomorrow afternoon. Almost 18 hours from now. Winter weather alert, snow, ice may disrupt weekend travelers in parts of the Northeast. As the beast from the east, which has not been named, a sneaky storm with rain on tap into just enough fresh cold air to produce some snow and ice on the northern flanks. What are they talking about? The Northeast is looking to be in the crosshairs. Here's through your first week of December. We're talking 4 or more feet of snow in Vermont and New Hampshire, in the northern Dax. And northern Maine, it's insane. Take a look at snowshoe before winter. They're going to be picking up some record totals down there. And middle of Texas, the nexus of the schmexus. Are you looking at this? Are you picking it up? Because the snow is going to be put down over North Texas and Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, say it ain't soda, and Nebraska can kiss my snow-aska. Winter conditions over the Rockies, heavy rainfall and flash flooding threat over the desert Southwest. Boom! We're back, baby. Remnant moisture from what was once Tropical Storm Raymond will continue to produce heavy rainfall and the threat for flash flooding over the Denver Southwest into Thursday. Some of the flooding could be locally significant. Heavy snow will be common over the Rockies and will likely cause people to be totally fluxed. Look at that. Winter storm warnings and watches in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Slovakia, 9 states, including imminent flash flooding in central Arizona and California deserts now, which will continue for the next 2 days. Take a look at Arizona in the green. That's a desert state. Do you know why I moved out here? Exactly because of what's happening. Fresh water, unlimited amounts, and no people and no pollution where I am. UK on course for a historically cold November. The UK's minimum temperature plunged 9.9 C overnight on November 18th, a reading amongst the coldest for the date on record. That's negative 9.9 C. The top spot remains in 1905 at minus 14.9 C, set during the centennial minimum. Now, after decades of being lectured by the Met Office, among others, that global warming will bring an end to extreme cold temperatures, the UK still somehow keeps on clocking them in. You know what I'm saying? Yet another example of how simple real-world observations can unravel in an anthropogenic global warming world, which is a ruse, by the way. Now, Brits have been suffering through a historically cold month. November's average temperature was held well below the norm for the first 17 days, continuing October's dramatic cooling trend. Yes, take a look at this article, where Central England experiences historically chilly October. Now, the Central England temperature, or the CET, big up to the Queen Mother, record measures the monthly mean surface air temperatures for the Midlands region of England and is the longest series of monthly temperatures observations in existence anywhere in the world. Well, that's because us Brits, we're the best. Anyway, its mean reading for November 2019 to the 17th is sitting at 6.6 C, and that's 0.7 C below the already cool 1961-1990 average, the current standard period of reference for climatological data used by the WMO. This is very boring. Hey, if you're in the UK, bundle up! They're your models, not looking like schmodels, but if I was Greta Thunberg, I would have my knickers in a bunch. And that's because her boyhood home is going to be slathered in model-sounding viewers. If we could just pause this. Hey, Greta, I hope you flew home already and you're like, Mommy, why is it all snowy outside? I thought you said we were going to burn out in 12 years and it's all over. I thought I travelled in time to the future to warn the people of the coming doom. Apparently it was a ruse. The globalists are using me for a one-world government. They're using me for their plan. We are the Borg. There you have it. It's my official forecast. We are the Borg. The Synagogue of Satan is making its gameplay. Now, the Synagogue of Satan, also known as public schools. Let's jump over to North Devon, UK. Kingsley School head of geography Steve Whaley is one of the first wave of educators in Britain to become a United Nations accredited climate change nonsenser, which they call teachers, by the way. Now, Mr. Whaley has been working hard, thick and long, to gain his qualifications. Yes, he's definitely putting the Mandingo to shame. which now allows him, as the current Mandingo, to deliver climate change lessons to all of his pupils at the school in Bideford, as well as delivering education on the subject through geography lessons and extracurricular activities in climate change. Yes, I make the popping noise with my cheek and my finger. Can you imagine that? It's actually all natural. The programmee, now let's get back to the brass facts of the tax. The programmee was launched earlier this year and is free. Can you imagine? Like the flu shot, it's free for all primary and secondary school teachers who haven't had the flu shot, apparently. Now, once accredited, these liars are able to deliver the satanic climate change facts right up the asses of the children. Look at how happy he is. It's like Jeffrey Epstein was never murdered or something. Now a response from an ex-teacher who left the profession because of this sort of child abuse, virtue signaling, and self-serving lefty propaganda. I know it's a mouthful. Basically means that all of UK schools are full of shot, and the teachers are now licensed in propaganda. Can you imagine that? Actually getting a license to propagandize children. I know, that would be the greatest day of my life when I could actually lie to the youth of our earth that I'm totally misguiding you and making you have to take pharmaceutical drugs for the rest of your life to simply survive. But I do digress. Now let's get to the facts on the one human, the singular human in UK history with a backbone. This is an ex-teacher who left the profession because they smelt the doo-doo. And they write, I wonder if Mr. Whaley is going to show his students the annual temperature charts for the last 12,000 years, like Diamond would. Or reveal to them that CO2 increase lags temperature increase by at least 300 to 400 years. 700 years in some proxy data sets, according to Diamond, who's actually showed them on his show at the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Now, the reason Diamond has integrity is because he's a paleoclimatologist, a geologist, and a paleontologist. He's not a recently trained classical bullshit artist with a degree in climatology or climate science, because that requires an undergraduate degree with no thinking and very low-level math. So we know these people, basically, we used to call it back in the day, rocks for jocks, simply got the degree because it was the easiest way out for these schmucks. But now let's get to the facts on why these schmucks are so stupid. Now, they're stupid because they just passed and they are not scientists or researchers. They're degreed undergraduate degrees of insignificance. And at some point in the near future, this new climate science degree is going to be negated as bunk. Trust me, mark my words. Now, the former teacher who left because they had integrity is simply asking a few simple questions. And we're going to get to them. First, is he going to... Now, we're talking about this guy right here. Kingsley School Head of Geography, Steve Whaley. Now, Steve, if you see our show, if anyone in the UK can contact you, we would love to have you on the show, Steve, so we could stick our foot right up your Whaley ass. Yes, right up into the blubber. It would be like I'll bring the harpoon. Anyway, my harpoon will be facts, and your ass will be blubber. Trust me, Mr. Whaley. You're the dumbest human on earth, and there's your shaved head because you're worried about your balding and your lack of knowledge in your cranium while your ears grow. Yes, it's wonderful. Anyway, so I wonder if Mr. Whaley is going to show his students the annual temperature charts, which show he's full of shit. But not only that, let's get to the bullet points because they're bulleted. Is Mr. Whaley going to talk about the Precambrian when CO2 levels were 17 to 18 times higher, almost 2,700 parts per million? 4,000 parts per million on some readings. And the fact that the Cambrian explosion occurred. Now, this is a time almost 500 million years ago, 550 million years ago, let's say, when all life on Earth exploded and all the phyla and taxa were filled up with wonderful creatures. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please click into your Google box the Burgess Shale, Burgess, Burgess Shale. Shale is Shale. And if you don't know how to spell that, that means you're an Ale. Yes, an ale-hole. The Burgess Shale up in British Columbia are one of the most fascinating units ever in the Cambrian explosion, where millions of species spontaneously emerged due to cosmogenic forces, some of which had 12 sets of eyes and 14 sets of legs, like hallucinogenia, Wixwaxia, and even, we won't even get into some of the predators, because the types of fauna that exploded when CO2 was 20 times the current level and cosmic rays were king is amazing. You know what there wasn't any of? Dumb humans. Thank God. Or else we would have killed off all those babies and we would have never been here. Now, number 2. Is he going to tell his students about the temperature data tampering over the last 40 years by NASA, NOAA, and the IPCC? Climate Gate 1, Climate Gate 2, Climate Gate 3, Climate Gate 11. Is he going to tell them about that? I doubt it. Is he going to discuss with his students that the inconvenient truth that CO2 has never driven climate throughout any of history ever on the planet, according to no one except the IPCC, which, by the way, is a governmental panel of idiots? Is he going to tell them about that? Is he going to explain the mechanism of how it's doing now? I doubt it. Is he going to cover the embarrassing court defeat of Michael Mann, of the famous hockey stick, and the fact that Michael Mann refused to present his evidence, and Tim Ball, good friend of the channel, won after spending almost $1 million of his own money? Is he going to discuss that? Probably not. Is he going to point out that every prediction made by the global warming psychos has been completely wrong on every count, up to 500% over the last 40 years? Probably not a cricket. Hello? Yep, nothing. Is he going to discuss what 1000 Froley just published, and that we are the only people to actually cover the paper that I could find on the internet? But I digress, because the ideal gas law does not even jibe with the current global warming model, which means all physics are off, according to the IPCC. And finally, is Mr. Whaley going to show his students that the so-called dramatic warming from the 1970s is purely an artifact of beginning in the 1970s, as so boldly shown by a good friend of ours over at Real Climate Science, Tony Heller? He's a belly roll. Now, these alarmist charts simply begin their graph at the low point. Of course they're going to go up. Please show us a graph from 1850 onward. Now, I'm sick of talking like an Englishman, but I think you got the point. The point is that my foot is up here. Discover Solar Wind shows a shift in the phi angle after it was sitting pretty for days. 2 days straight, the phi angle shifted to 180 at 4:27 UTC. 6.3 earthquake reported off the coast of Mexico. A 6.3 magnitude downgraded to 6.2 by the USGS was felt and struck off the coast of Mexico Tuesday night. Thankfully, it struck off the coast. No injuries are reported so far. Now, the quake of note happened at 4:27 UTC, exactly 2, here's 4 o'clock. Here's the 4 o'clock hash. 27 is exactly when the phi angle reached 180. Exactly. I hope you picked that up. And then there was a boom, and then it was on the map. No other quakes of note, but it was my hypothesis this movement is going to move up the fault. So we're going to see some activity here and some more activity back in Alaska. And hopefully we won't see the activity right here in Cascadia. But there's a Cascadia alert for the next 5 hours. Heads up. Shishaldin increased seismic activity over the past 24 hours. The Alaskan Volcano Observatory recorded seismicity levels at Shishaldin and found that they had climbed to a level similar to that observed during the other eruptive periods over the past few weeks. That means it's boom time, kids. You want to know more about Shishaldin? Google it, for Christ's sake. No other volcanoes of note, but we will bring you over to the Shishaldin page. We won't link you to it because you have to figure out how to find it by scrolling down on the volcano discovery page. If you want to know about any of these volcanoes, scroll down, and when you get to like Sakurajima and it says read all, click on that spot. Look what happens. Wait till you see this. Oh my God! You get all the Sakurajima news. All of it that ever existed forever. I love clicking shit. It's like boom, Shishaldin is about to go boom, boom. Global Volcanism program over at the Smithsonian that has all of the artifacts hidden in the basement. Awesome. Thank you, Dennis Stanford, for actually talking about the Salutrians while your entire basement facility is filled with other shit that you won't talk about. We still love you, Dennis. Now, Shishaldin has the capability of blowing to VEI 3 or greater. And looking at the shape of this cinder cone, we're doomed. We're doomed in the region if we live there because this baby is going to blow its top anytime soon. Cinder cones do not remain in this shape for a very long time. Most of them are jagged and are halfway blown off. Like this one will be soon. And huge lahars will flow down and any Eskimo in its wake will be buried. Because I don't think there's any other people near there, actually. White House source, Trump made unexpected hospital visit to test for intentional poisoning. Not the first time he's been intentionally poisoned, but the chefs are all dead. Anyway, photos show evidence of life on Mars. This is breaking news over the last 24 hours. Total bullshit news. There is no insects on Mars because there's no oxygen. It's 0.05%. So insects need oxygen because they're from Earth. So if there's insects on other planets, they'll probably be completely different because we're then earthimagizing the rest of the world. That's not how life is going to be there, like on Earth. There'll be bacteria and other shit, but insects that look like... Anyway, I met a guy years ago at a conference who thinks there's other fossils on Mars, and he may be watching this program. But he's just as full of shit as this entomologist who gets a... And also, let me call out Mud Fossil University. If you're watching tonight, this is about as much credibility as I could give you, which is a thumbs up, but it's only my middle finger. So I'm going to give you about 1% credibility because you know how to read. It's about as far as I'll go. Same with this guy. Climate science proves scams don't die from exposure. It doesn't. That's why Mud Fossil University has thousands of subscribers, because scams can't die. Not even if you tell them all the truth and all the facts. You lay it all out before them. Mouth breathers will be like, Mud Fossil! Giant dragon! Yep, that's where we're at. It's called idiocracy. And thankfully, the Earth is about to take you all out because you're not prepared. IPCC claims on global warming are based on erroneous calculations. And it took some research to locate this paper, I'm going to link it to you for free in English. And so we are now having to wade through scientific papers in other countries that are being withheld from you to figure out the facts. Other people in other countries know how full of shit the IPCC is. 100%. And I've linked you to an amazing 4-page paper. That's it. The authors' names are unpronounceable. Petri, Sakoma, Giuseppe, if that's how you say it. So read the links, read the paper. Climate Change and the Use of Fossil Fuels, coming out from the same author just before the last paper, which is not a schmaper. These are facts hidden from you by your own media. Take a look at Greta Thunberg back in 1898. Yep, she's mining gold in the Yukon Territory. I didn't believe it until I saw it. And there you have it. Greta Thunberg is in a photo from 120 years ago. And she's grinning. She's a time traveler. Now, I'm about to blow your mind and to end her career, but I digress. First, let's listen to some amazing information about the alpha monocerotids. The upcoming alpha Monocerotid meteor shower outburst has been recorded at least on 4 amazing occasions over the last millennia or century, however long you want to look at it. But the media is currently broadcasting the predictions of an outburst of the alpha Monocerotid meteor shower, Monocerotid meteor shower on the night of November 21st, which is just on Thursday. And let's hear what they have to say before we get them fired.
So it's not a very well-known constellation, but the Monocerotid, or the unicorn constellation, is actually located near Orion.
Unicorn!
And there's going to be a meteor shower associated with it. It's the Alpha Monocerotid meteor outburst. When will it be? Well, it's Thursday night, 8:50 our time. It will last less than an hour, but we could potentially see up to 400 meteors. So very quick, but will we actually get to see it? How will the weather be? Well, Thursday night, we're actually looking mostly clear, but it will be chilly at that time, most likely in the lower 40s. So if you are going to spend about an hour outside, definitely bundle up. Of course, that sun setting before 4:30, and again, this happening at 8:50 p.m. So get out and get away from the city lights and look up at the night sky.
Oh my God, if you're about to spend an hour outside because of what she said, and anyway, here's my comment. The only comment under the video. Unfortunately, the Monocerotids will not be visible west of Denver. Check your facts before you waste your viewers' time, please. That was as nice as I could put it. I gave her a thumbs down. Barely 200 people watch this piece of shite, and I'll link it below. But here are the facts about the upcoming Alpha Monocerotid meteor shower outburst, which is fascinating. Now, the media is currently broadcasting the prediction of an outburst of the Alpha Monocerotid meteor shower on the night of November 21st, and the time is correct. She was right in saying 8:50 in the northwest. The only problem at 8:50 in the northwest, Orion will not have risen yet. In fact, west of Denver, Orion will be sitting at the horizon and will be almost invisible, and the Monoceratids will be below the horizon where she is. Now, Dr. Peter Jenkinson and Esko Linton have made calculations that indicate there may be a zenithal hourly rate as high as 400 to 1,000 meteors per hour. This is an outburst. It's a super storm where you could see 1,000 meteors in 30 minutes. That's 10:50 Central Time, 9:50 Mountain, and 11:50 Eastern. The only 3 places you could possibly see it. And here's the map. If you are west of the red line, you have 0% chance of seeing this outburst. If you're over here, you have the best chance on the East Coast. At 11:50, go out, look just below Orion at the Unicorn. And wait for it. If you're up here in Portland and you listen to this woman, you can see what is going to happen. Nothing. So give her a thumbs down and explain why. Only if you read the article, which is not a sharticle, even though it's from NASA. Hope you got something out of the video. You're about to get buried in global warming goodness. As far south as South Central Texas. Even in Baja, in Mexico. I want to thank all of our patrons for stepping forward. And after I published that thank you patrons video, which is only like a minute, 8 more people became patrons. We're now over 204 Patreons. And they all gave what they could. $1, $2, $3. It doesn't matter how much you give. It matters how many give. When we're talking about a $1 a month donation, if 1,000 of you give that, that's a big difference. If only 3 care, well, that's $3. Hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing quickly. The media just continues to publish 100% chart. We deliver facts here. You can weigh the evidence. Chart versus facts. You make the call.